Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Apologies for that. There was a bit of technical glitch. So, thanks very much, everyone, for joining us today. So, I'm looking at the chat window and it's really quiet. So, can you just leave in the chat window information about who you are and also where you're joining us from? So, put that information in the chat window. We'd like to know who you are and where you're joining us from. So today is the final session in this series. So we started this series quite a while ago. We started this series mid-December, where we went through multiple topics relating to the AWS Security Specialty Certification exam. And all the topics are geared towards the exam objectives. We've had lots of community members speaking. And also, we've had lots of amazing prizes. We've had a lot of happy winners. We have some people that won the AWS Security Certification Exam Specialist, Security Specialist Exam voucher to take the exam for free. And we had some people, many people, that won the AWS credit voucher to have AWS credits that they could use to practice in their environment. So awesome. So I can see we have someone called Christ the King. So Bright Abayomi from Unilag. Thanks for joining, Bright. And we have Ungozi Uche from Owerri, Nigeria. Thanks for joining us, Ungozi. Thanks very much for joining. You're welcome. Okay, without any further ado, we have the final session. And who best to give the final session to share information on how to prepare and pass this certification than the man, the myth, the legend himself, the most dynamic tech community person you know in Nigeria, Mr. or Sir Imoh himself. Sir Imoh, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mr.
Yeah,
David. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, today is the final day, guys, and you've been learning since December to today. So today is just going to be basically the tips on how you can pass your exams. Although I actually thought of it that we should have a brief touched on some part that I discovered that we didn't really touch, which has to do with the VPC and all that. VPC and maybe the network access control list and security group, and maybe the security pillar of the in the AWS place. So I'm going to quickly brush us through that. So please get ready for the section. My name is not that person than Imoh, Etuk, and Mr. David had done that the introduction. So we move down straight to today's section. I believe my screen is shared. Can you all see my screen?
Okay, so all we can see like just the dark screen. So we can't really see the screen, just something dark.
Wow.
So
Oh,
not the screen itself. So you may
can you
need,
see?
okay, yeah, we can see your screen now. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So
so
what
now
we'll do is we'll hand over to Sir Imo. If anybody has any questions, this is your chance to ask the question on preparing for the exam from Sir Imo himself. So put your questions in the chat window and we'll read them out. But for now, I'll let Sir Imo take it from here and then we'll read your questions out to him as you may have. And remember, there is someone that will be going home with an AWS credit voucher at the end of today. So make sure you pay attention and make sure that you're ready. So, Sir Imo, over to you, sir.
yes. So we have on the screen. Uh, Welcome once again, and I'm really glad to be your speaker for today's section. Today is a wrap for the whole of this series. So we have with me the AWS Security Specialty Exam Prep, and the aim of this study series is to, at the end of the day, you're able to have yourself get yourself certified with the AWS Security Specialist examination. So and but before I go on, we need to briefly touch some of the important points that I feel that will matter in your exam as you read along. The agenda we just have is we're going to briefly look at network and network access control list and the differences between the two of them, because a lot of professionals are being, maybe most time we got them mixed up, thinking they are the same thing. No, they are not the same thing. At the end of the day, you're going to get to know that they are not the same thing. So we have the AWS well educated framework. We're going to briefly look at that, and we look at the design principle for AWS security pillars. Since this section is focusing on security, we're going to lay more emphasis on that. Then we're going to briefly look at the basic understanding of VPC, what you need to know, and then we attempt our quiz, then take a few questions for the example and run for the day. So there we go, and you will see on the screen we have two images. One is the network security, network address, network access control list, and one is the security group. So you know that security group and network access control list, both of them are the security features that you can use to secure your cloud environment. But when it comes to network access control list, that is like a firewall subnet that's operating. You operate at subnet level. It's a stateless in nature, in the sense that whatever it controls only the network. Traffic going in and out of your network, constantly monitors, give reports, and you get to know that mostly if you create your VPC flow log, you get your connection report there. So what the network security and network access control is just for you.
Oh, Simon, sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
Hello, Simon. Sorry to interrupt. So people are saying that the audio is fluctuating. I can hear that it seems to be fluctuating in terms of the audio. So I'm not sure. So when the screen was it shared with the audio? So because that maybe contributes to the audio issue.
The screen, right? You mean
Yes.
whether when the screen was shared? Yes, I shared it with the audio. Let me confirm that. Okay, please, can you hear me clearly now? Is it that we confirm?
I think it sounds better now.
Okay, let me stop sharing first and share again. Maybe it will,
Okay.
it will come up better. Can you hear me now? Am I better now? Please?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. It sounds better.
Okay.
Sounds better.
We have the network access control list and security groups on the screen. So the major differences, as we have it on these images there, security groups is a kind of a tool that controls access to your resources at the resource level. Maybe like resources like the EC2 instance. You can see from the diagram we have about two EC2 instance in within one security group, and what it does is to control access traffic to it. So it's a kind of stateful firewall a security tools that you use to control traffic. So this one, while in that network address network access control list controls traffic to your network, what comes into your network and what goes out to your network. Security groups control access to your resources, such as EC2 instance and any other related resources on the AWS cloud. So that these are the two basic things I would like you to understand today. That access network access control list controls your traffic going in and out of your network, and also it's a stateless firewall security feature that constantly operate at the subnet level. So while the security groups functions at the resource level and it's a stateful firewall protection tool that is to control traffic to your in and out of your resources, such as EC2 instance. And we move down to let's if you have questions, please. I will be taking them along. You can drop them on at the chat section. So I haven't said that. When we have it's breaking, it's clear now. Okay, it's clear now. So when we have these two tools, you should know that as a security personnel, maybe as a security professional, that on the AWS cloud, you really need to work with them. Mostly, if you look at your VPC that has everything from at the regional level, and your resources are there. So we're going to get to understand VPC more when we talk about that. So now we move down to to another slide that has to do with well-architected framework. Now, well-architected framework is what, as cloud architect, when you are building something on AWS cloud, it is expected that those things, whatever you build, is secure and is performing high, and also it is resilient and efficient in terms of performance, and also it is sustainable. So this and is also cost effective. These are the pillars that guide your operations in the cloud, in the AWS cloud environment. So it is also necessary that you understand that there are all about six pillars of well-architected framework on the AWS. One has to do with operational excellence, the way the way you deliver these resources that you build to deliver to your clients, and the way it is secured, how reliable it is, and how cost effective it is very important. And also, is it sustainable, and how is the performance? Is it something that performs very well? And so this help provide a kind of honoring this will help you to provide consistent approach to your customers and even partners that you work with as an architect, as a security as specialist. So now we move down to the main one, which has to do with the design principle for AWS security pillars. So we understand that there are about seven design principles on AWS that has to do with the security pillars. So now when you are designing for security, you need to take into consideration that it is very important that you implement a strong identity foundation, and we ensure that the IAM policy meet the best practice that is obtainable, in the sense that you must not allow the root user to carry out any administrative tasks. You should have the IAM users doing most of these things and all that. So before you architect any workload, you need to put in place practices that influence security in a positive way, and all that. You want to control who can do what and who can do this, who can do that, and that's very important as long as a AWS cloud environment is concerned. So you also enable traceability in terms of, you can use something like a cloud trail, which maybe guard duty as a security tools to enable you to trace like the API calls, call logs and all that, even VPC flow log and all that connections and traffic to your own VPC environment. Then you have to apply security at all layers. There's no excuse in terms of, by default, your environment, your design should take security into consideration. Then automate security best practice where necessary, protect data in transit and at rest, keep people away from data, and prepare for security events. These are your duties as an AWS user, or as a security specialist. These are your responsibility when it comes to security in the cloud. And that is when we talk about the shared responsibility model in the AWS cloud. So we move down to basic understanding of VPC. VPC is all over when you operate on in AWS cloud. VPC is the heart of it, because it's is what enables the connection. Everything you want to do, it enables it to work. Without connection, cannot work. So what is this VPC? As the name implies, a virtual private cloud, meaning it is private to you. When you sign up on AWS cloud, you open your organization, you create an account. There's a default VPC that AWS made it available for you to use. You can decide to modify it. Of course, you need to modify it to suit what you need. So, but VPC is what enables you to launch AWS resources into virtual network that you have defined. Maybe if you this virtual network are closely like resembles a kind of similar to traditional network that you have on your premises. That's exactly what AWS VPC is, but it's only that AWS VPC is scalable compared to your traditional network. So, and there are some components that you need to get yourself familiar with, such as the subnet. If you can see this in this picture, we have the VPC and we have about two availability zone. For what you need to know is that VPC is regional based, and it can span across about two AZs, two availability zone at a time. According to this picture, you see that we only have one VPC here, and you see that we have about two availability zone. This is the region. This is region area where you have this region. Then the first thing that govern your cloud environment is the VPC, and what brings in internet access to your VPC is the internet gateway from the internet. Yes, so you have the customer subnet and firewall subnet as well that protect the incoming traffic and outgoing traffic as well. So there are some components you need to get yourself familiar with, such as the subnet. Now, subnet is the range of IP addresses in your VPC. There's a default VPC in your cloud environment. Once you launch any region you choose, there's a default, and that default comes with an IP address, a private IP address about 172 dot 31 31.0.0 slash. The CIDR range is 16. Now this is a private IP address that you need to know, and it has about the IP address counts for this about 65,536 and 36. So this is a count IP count range that falls under this public. If you go to your AWS Cloud Management Console, you see that once you check for your default VPC, you see that the default CIDR range is this, and you cannot modify. This cannot be modified. Get that right? You can modify it. You need to add your own and all that. So by default, this is created and associated to any resource that you want to create on AWS. Then we have the IP addressing. You can assign up to IP version 4 addresses or an IP version 6 addresses to your VPC and subnet. You can also bring your own IP version 4 to your VPC cloud environment and as well. And then the route table is important for you to route traffic in and out of your VPC as well. So that is just what most of the things you need to know about about VPC. Basic things you need to know. Then route table, of course, you need to route in and out traffic to determine the network that comes in and go out, and also you need to talk about gateways and endpoints. Then a gateway connects your VPC to another network. We have something like if you know about any, that is elastic network interface. That's a kind of a movable interface, a kind of movable interface network that can be moved from one resources to another. So we also have something like you need to understand peering connection is also what can use a VPC peering connection to route traffic between the resources in two VPCs. Let's say you have about one VPC, or you can have your own premises. You can actually route traffic between that. So we also have traffic monitoring, a kind of a copy network traffic from network interfaces and send it to security and monitoring appliances for deep packaging. It's also all of us to do with security. All these things help to monitor what is going on within your VPC environment. Remember, your cloud environment is governed by two basic things. One is the IAM policies and VPC. These are the two fundamentals resources and infrastructure in your in your AWS cloud environment. When once these two things are messed up, believe me, you won't have a secure environment. So that is why it is important that you pay attention to VPC and your IAM policy as well. So we also have a transit gateway. We have transit gateways to be. You can use transit gateway to serve as a central hub to route traffic between VPC, VPN connections, and your AWS direct connect connections. Maybe from your on-premises directly to AWS and all that. Then we also have VPC flow logs. VPC flow logs capture the packet, the connection activities that is going on within your VPC, and the data can be stored in S3 bucket or and also CloudWatch as well. It can also be stored in AWS Kinesis, and sometimes. Then we have VPN connections as well. VPN connections, you can connect your VPCs to your premises through the use of VPNs, and it's the best connection you can ever think of. So now we have known talk about some basics of VPC that you need to know, for at least to keep you going. We need to move down to something else. We need to have our quiz briefly based on what we just discussed now. We need to have our quiz, and that I will go into the platform for quiz. Sorry, God. I'll go into the platform for quiz and bring that out. Please confirm if you can still see my screen or hear me clearly. So we go back to quiz. I will share my screen so that we can enter this quiz website. Hope you are getting prepared. You are set for the quiz time. Are you set for the quiz time? Can I see some comment at the comment section? Based on what we just discussed briefly now, we need to have a brushing of our knowledge to know that okay, we actually in line with what we just discussed. So I will go to Kahoot. So if you have question, is there any question on the there's no question in the chat section. Okay. So let me bring up the quiz. Sharing my screen now. So I'm logging into the quiz platform now, and so we're going to start a quiz. Okay. Um, okay. So are you set now? You can log into kahoot.it, and let me show you something. Kahoot.it is where you want to log in to access this quiz to play along. So have you set, please? Okay, can we go on? Let's say we have this. I will start the quiz now. It's loading. So you can see the game pin on the screen. Please confirm if you can see the game pin and you can able to join. Nobody has joined so far. Are we there? Okay. So one person has joined. Two, three, four. Okay. So we have four people. Without wasting five. Okay. So we have five people now. I'm going now. We are starting. 6. Are people still joining? At the count of 3, pin to join. The pin is on the screen. Let me give you the pin. The pin to join is right there in the chat section. You can click that link and join. The pin is attached to the link. Okay, so 7 people have joined. Okay, we are starting. Nobody can join again after we started. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to just ask you some basic question on that. Okay. Number one is, what is the difference between network access control list and security group? Option A is NSCL is an EC20 standard level, while the is second level. Who owns it? Who has it? Oh, okay. One person has gotten it. Okay. So we go to next. The last person, the only person that scored is Malik. Malik is the next. Is the Okay? We go into the next question. The first VPC in your AWS management console is known as AWS underscore VPC underscore default VPC, non-default VPC, AWS managed VPC. Which one is the answer? Time is going. Okay, let's see the scorer. Still Malik, and I am that I am that I am that I am. Okay, so we go to next question. About 8 time we have. There are dash design principles for security in the cloud. How many design principles do we have for the security pillar in the AWS well architected framework? Well, we have 7. Okay. So top scorer is still Malik. Okay. So remember, the rule is that if you have won this quiz before, since the beginning of this program, you're not going to win again. So what is the IP address of the APC default VPC? AWS default VPC. One is 127.31xx/16. Then the rest is without. Okay. No one has gotten. Oh, that question is wrong. This option picked is wrong. It's actually the one in red. This CIDR range of 16 IP address. Wow. So this one is not counted. That point is not counted. The option we marked was wrong. So let's go to mix to the next one. Anyone that win the highest will carry this. So how many IP address counts are available in the default IP addresses of 172 dot this? Yes, there is the answer. So you pick one here. We have 65,635. Okay. Yeah. Malik is still the top scorer. The next one is question number 6. What is the function of internet gateway in AWS VPC endpoint? The number A is it allows connection to private subnet. It serves as the default gateway to AWS VPC. It functions as elastic network interface. to EC2 instance, allows communication between VPC. Okay, who scored that? Okay, so the second to the last, which is just true or false. VPC spans across multiple availability zones. True or false? Gabriel Atkins, I'm getting time up. Wow, maybe we have already gone far. Okay, now the winner, well, Malik is going higher, still remaining the top. Then VPC is Dash. Is it a global resource, region specific? Is it specific or public? Okay, so we have the scorer, the top scorer to be. So the top scorer for today's quiz is Aaron Hood. Aaron Hood, congratulations. And please do send us your name, your full name, your email, and yes, those are the two things we need. Let's see. So congratulations, Aaron Wood. Send us the details. Let's know. So let's go back to our slide for today. We needed to let me go back to the screen. We have some questions to practice, which will be a core exam question. This one they know what to it. So we are going to be talking about some of the core exam questions that we have. We have some exam questions that we need to discuss and look at it how it is. So now today the exam prep question is really serious section for you because this is where you'll be able to grab one or two things to enable you prepare for your exam. So I'm going to project live now. So the question is we this questions are taken from infrastructure security on AWS. Of course, that's what we need to secure. We need to secure software as well. So a company hosts a popular web application that connects to an Amazon RDS MySQL DB instance running in a private VPC subnet created with default network um, uh, access control list settings. The IT security department has a suspicion that a DOS attack is coming from a suspecting IP. How can you protect the subnet from this attack? We need some answers at the chat section. You can drop your question if you know the answer. Drop it. So now, okay. We're going to go ahead and review the question. There's no time on our side. So is the question is you have to change the inbound network access control list to deny access from the suspecting IP address. So why do we have that correct? Because if you're restricting the inbound network access control list is the solution to deny access from the suspecting IP address. We just talk about the network access control list as one of the options, as an optional control list that you help to secure traffic in and out of your VPC environment or your network environment. So we go back to another question. Another question is the company is hosting a website in AWS VPC. Audio is fluctuating again. Okay. That more accessible to public users. Please confirm if you can hear me now. For HTTP traffic should be open for administrative purposes The administrator's workstation has a static IP address of 203.0.11. Okay, let me check my audio and get back. Okay, so apologies for the bad outputs in terms of audio. So now let me stop sharing my screen and share and reshare. Please confirm if you can hear me. If my audio is better now, please. Okay, so let me do like this. Let me come to this other audio and see if that should be better. Okay, can you hear me now? Please, is my audio better now? Is my audio better now, please? So we have audio is bad. Oh, wow. Okay. Apologies. Let me. I'm joining with. I'm joining with another system that maybe my audio will be better than this one. So
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Sorry. So yeah, so there seems to be like a bit of an echo, and that's coming in. I think it may be down to 1 minute. Let me do this. Hello, hello, hello.
okay, so
Yeah, so there's a bit of an
can you hear me now?
yeah. I think there's an echo. Maybe it sounds as if as you're speaking, it's going into another microphone and then coming out to the speaker.
Okay.
Or it sounds as if there's like maybe another stuff that's currently open, another maybe like microphone or speaker that's maybe playing the same audio and looping. So that's what it sounds like, sir. Okay.
Is it better now?
There's still like that echo. So there's still like
Okay.
it's like the microphone is not using like a closed microphone. It's like the audio is coming out from the speaker. So maybe if it's possible to mute the speaker, so but not the microphone. So the microphone. Oh, okay, 1 minute.
1 minute, please. Let me check my audio.
Hello, sir. Can you still hear me? I think that this one will be good. Hello, can you hear me, sir? Imoh? Hello? Oh, okay. So apologies, everyone. There seems to be like some audio issues, probably related to just some minor audio issues going on. Let's do this again.
Mr. David, is it better now?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay.
That is good. Yeah. Okay.
Guys, apologies for the situation. Please, let's continue with the exam prep question that we were reviewing before the audio in transmission cutting. So we have the question two is uh, a company is hosting a website in AWS VPC that must be accessible to public users for HTTP traffic should be opened for administrative purposes. The administrator's workstation has a static IP address of 203.0.113.1 slash CIDR range of 32. Which of the following security group configuration is the most secure but still functional to support the requirement? A is port 3 coming from 0.0.0. That this port is open, port 443 is open. Then port 443 coming from 10.0.0.16/16. Then port 22 coming from 0.0. Please, if you know the answer, drop the option there. Either you have to choose two questions in this one. So can we have the answers? So now we I'm going to go ahead and show the
Oh, okay.
answer. We
So
were
on the
to
screen, so we can see the answer on the screen already.
oh okay, you can see the answer. Oh, that
So it's
that that,
showing the
that,
screen that has the answer.
that has defeated the purpose because I'm actually that's the reason I'm using one screen. Okay,
So,
so guys, this is not going to be effective because answer has already been displayed before we actually read out the question. So what I'm going to just share with you guys because it's already time to run up. I'm going to share the tips on what you need to do for your exam, which is to I'm going to point you to relevant links for you to stay up to date, which and able to prepare for exam. And there we go. We're going to take the chat section. The moderator, Mr. David, will share the link with everybody for you to see. So the first link there, you need to stay abreast with the how to secure your resources from DDoS attack. There's a link for that. I'm going to also stay check that out. Um, Now we also have. So David, I just pasted the link. So we have I have pasted some link there directly for
okay.
that section. Though there are many,
Awesome.
I think I should separate them. There is a link that has to do with AWS security event. If you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. Let me paste that channel a link separately. Subscribe to the AWS security event channel. There you will stay up to date with the AWS security event, even the past recording live demo section that is very rich for you to prepare for your exams also can be found there. So another one you need to do is to be able. One of the tips I will have for you now is to go through all the links I pasted now, and be able to read everything. They know how you not pass your exams, and also for those that would have won the voucher, remember it is a must that you pass the exam. You must not fail the exam. So you have to utilize every possible means for you to pass the exam. Mr. David Elron Hood is the winner of today's quiz. I've told him to, instructed him to
Nice.
send us his email and his full name, so we can follow up with him getting
Yes.
the prizes. So now another tips is for you
Awesome.
to um, share yourself. If you belong to our community in terms of the WhatsApp group that we have, you see that even in the meetup in the community, you have to share yourself. Find a reading a study mate. Share yourself into like a group of two and study together. This one, even in the community WhatsApp group, if you are there, you can always ask questions to get answers. So there's no two ways of passing the exam rather than reading and passing it. If you
Hmm.
cannot read, you will not pass it. So go above and below to ensure that you finish all the content in this blog links that I just shared, and also ask question. In any way you don't understand, just feel free to ask question. Everybody is busy, but you can always at least once in a while attend to. In fact, many people are there to ready to help. So that is the tips I have to share with you. Someone is asking for WhatsApp group link. Okay. So another one is for you to also encourage your friends and colleagues to also stay abreast and connect with us in our community, and so that they'll be able to also benefit what you benefit from us. And also one of the other way, reach out to Sir Imoh. Okay. So yes, reach out to us on LinkedIn or anywhere. We get in touch with you, get the link to you. So another one is for you to pass the exam, you have to be open-minded. You have to be time conscious on the day of your exam. Maybe if you have not done any this nature exam of this nature before, be it in another field, might not be it might not be AWS, it could be Microsoft Azure, it could be another exam. So it is the same. Maybe you are writing it from your house or at the exam center. What I usually advise people, you need to study the strength of your network so that you will not miss out. You just struggle to study, struggle to win the voucher through attending series of studies like this. So it will not be fair if your internet mess you up on the day of the exam. So you need to be very sure that the strength of your network can carry your exam. If not, just when you while booking the exam, choose exam center that is closer to you. We have some around within Lagos, within Abuja, and anywhere. Use Google Map, you locate them when you are registering the exam. So that is how it happened. Do not paste your personal details here, please. Send it to us privately. Everyone would. Audio is not clear. Oh, I don't know.
Audio is
Apologies.
good now. No, audio
You
is good. Audio is good.
okay?
I
Someone
think
is saying
maybe there may be a delay on Aaron's end. Maybe still hearing the
okay,
former
okay,
audio, but audio is good now, sir.
okay. So that's the tips I have to share with you. Today we have looked at the VPC. Like I said, we just look at the basic component of a VPC. VPC is a hard. I said something that in AWS cloud there are two basic things that make up that cloud environment. One is IAM policies, IAM, and two is VPC. You can govern your cloud environment using any of these tools. So go deep dive into VPC. It's very broad, it's very big and large. So you have to study beyond what we just shared today. And so that is what I have to share with all of you. Thank you for joining the section. And today is the wrap of this series. And we stay in tune with the community with something new that will be coming your way. Okay, Mr. David.
Yeah, Simon, that was awesome as always. Thanks very, very much for that. So really, really appreciate you taking the time to share that. And also, before we leave, just to tell everyone this also. So Saimo and other leaders in the community, they are planning an AWS recap event that's going to be coming up in March. So in March, so we're currently at the end of January, we're getting to February, but this will be happening in March. So make sure you follow the community meetup page. So there'll be lots of prizes that we are working with AWS to give out also, including potentially AWS certification vouchers. So make sure you connect with us on Meetup. So Simon, just before you go, so the AWS recap event, what is that about? What should people expect in terms of joining that?
Yes, that's a very good question, Mr. David. So, you joining the AWS Recap event, not all of us were fortunate to go to Las Vegas to attend the re-event in live last year. So, the recap event is to showcase the live sections that were shared, that were featured during the re-event. It's going to they are going to this section is meant to bring home the content that were shared over there, so that you can also learn from experts that spoke all throughout the event. And it's going to be focusing on the security aspect of AWS. We are up for security. So almost all the sections, that's ranging from detection, endpoint detection, VPC, lattice, IAM policy, setting up, and all the things you need to know about AWS security will what is going to be featured during the recap event in March. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much, sir. So we're looking forward to that. So again, everyone, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks very much for following us all through this series. We look forward to welcoming you in our future events and also in our in-person summits that we're going to be hosting this year. For now, bye from Imoh and myself, and all the best in your preparation and you passing the AWS Security Specialist certification. So see you next time, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.
Bye.